everyone, it's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll have two films to go check out. And it is the first Thursday of the month, which means my wife Jess is joining me. Jess, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure to be here, Shane.
And for spooky season, it is
Ooh,
October.
ooh.
And Jess picked House on Haunted Hill, and I picked House of Usher because we're going to do a double dose of
Houses.
Vincent True houses owned by Vincent
I don't
Price.
think the first one's rented, isn't it? Which I think makes it weirder. We'll get into
Fair.
that.
Yes, we will be talking about House on Haunted Hill and House of Usher, both starring one of the most legendary and iconic stars of the horror movie genre from the 50s and 60s. It is indeed Vincent Price, one of these directed by William Castle, the other by Roger Corman. But let's get started with House on Haunted Hill from 1959. A millionaire offers $10,000 to five people who agree to be locked in a large, spooky, rented house overnight with him and his wife. But Jess, what are your general thoughts on House on Haunted Hill?
Besides that, I don't understand. I guess I don't get why he rented it if he's a millionaire. But it's fine. Maybe it wasn't for sale.
Well, because he didn't want to do shenanigans in
Oh,
his own
true.
home.
That's true. If you're gonna
And this
murder
house is
people,
this house is also notoriously quote unquote haunted.
ooh, spooky. Okay, that's true. Produces a paper trail though. I enjoyed this, although the ending was confusing to me. I had a good time. I loved his wife's outfits. We love Annabelle, which hilarious considering Edgar Allan Poe wasn't Annabelle Lee, one of his famous poems.
Well, this is indeed a well, this is not based off of a Poe.
It's a good horror movie girl lady name though.
Mhm.
She has some great outfits.
Yes, this particular film, it's only 75 minutes, and probably the most famous thing is when this was out in theaters originally, they had an interactive 3D experience because they actually hung a skeleton from the ceiling
Yep.
and had it come out over the crowd for a 3D moment in the film.
I would have enjoyed that.
Which this film really it starts off one, it has really campy, eerie music and giving some praise to Von Dexter, who is the composer here. But this film starts off with a dark screen and the headless floating head of Elijah Cook Jr. warning us about how haunted this house is. And then the floating head of Vincent Price comes in and gives us the basic gist of the story in his very Vincent Price type voice, really laying down the atmosphere of this whole thing.
Yeah, he does that this whole movie.
Yes, and I think the mansion itself really works well. It has a particular vibe to it, and it's creepy, it's older. And Elijah Cook Jr.'s whole entire role here is to keep reminding us about how creepy and haunted this place is so that we could keep that vibe going all the way up until the end. It's like, they'll be here for you next.
Yeah, and that's the end.
Yep.
That's it. It just cuts. Hard cut.
But I think one of my favorite parts of this whole entire movie is the dynamic between Frederick and Annabelle Loren. Vincent Price and Carol Omar, like them throwing jabs and being like toxically caustic with each other for any time they're just interacting in the bedroom is absolutely fantastic. I probably could just watch 75 minutes of them being this like sassy and
Yeah, and
toxic with each other.
yeah, and you kind of think it's one-sided at first, but it's definitely both sides. Because like, I wouldn't put it past her to actually be trying to kill him for his money.
Which that's the whole as things start becoming a little bit more obvious, people start disappearing, things start falling. We witness the quote unquote death of Annabelle, and
Yep.
things start getting more intense. And like this has some really fun horror moments, like her like floating outside the window and like being all super
She
creepy.
goes, "Ooh."
Yep, that. And then, of course, the climax of this skeleton just creeping up and basically like haunting her into a vat of like
Acid.
acid. And you have Vincent Price in his big contraption puppeteer
Yeah, he's got this like
outfit,
control panel strapped to the front of him.
them, and like it's campy, it's funny, it's ridiculous. It's not particularly scary in
No,
2025, but it really comes together, and it has some dark twists and turns along the way. And it's only 75 minutes, so
that's
it's
a big investment.
not a big investment of your time. But the other players do a fine job, but it really is Elijah Cook Jr., Carol Omar, and Vincent Price who are like the standouts here.
Yeah, I barely remember the other people. They put a lot in this, though. I mean, when they first get there, some lady gets bled on, and she's just fine with it.
Bled on.
Okay.
You have
Everybody is peak haunted house husband.
creepy people who supposedly work there and aren't ghosts.
Oh yeah, the lady goes by on it would be a hoverboard.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just normal old people apparently.
Yeah, apparently. They sure look like
Which
normal
I
old
mean,
people.
they don't really speak at all, except to
It
warn them cryptically.
cryptically. It's like, how much would you put up for it in 1959 for $10,000?
What is that today?
We're gonna,
We're gonna figure it out. We love inflation calculators.
but let's see. So they're gonna get paid $10,000
And then you seem particularly hard up for money. I don't know if that becomes a plot point.
in 1959.
I mean, that's a decent chunk of
That's
change.
$111,000. Jess, would you stay in a creepy house for one night for $111,000?
Because I'd mind my own business. That's the problem. None of them mind their own
That's
business.
the thing. The rest of the characters aren't particularly
They
interesting,
could have stayed in
or
their rooms, and yet
there's like one of them has ulterior motives and a twist about them that makes this much more personal of what's going on here. But like really, you come for the campy over the top horror elements, and
price.
Castle does a really fine job of bringing them to life. And then Vincent Price is like the biggest selling point for this, and he's absolutely fantastic in all of his horror mustachioed glory.
Yes, he is very campy. We love it. We love the outfits too. Like again, Annabelle kills it.
Costuming's really well done too, and this has a very like bright, very vibrant look to it whenever there are actual colors in the film. But Jess, do you have any other thoughts on House on Haunted Hill?
I would simply mind my own business. No, that's it.
There we
That's
go.
all.
Well, next up we have the 1960 film House of Usher, which is also originally known as The Fall of House of Usher, which I guess when you're trying to search for it, just be mindful of that. This is from director Roger Corman and based off of the Edgar Allan Poe writing The Fall of House of Usher.
Love that they
This
credit him.
they have to.
I know, but it's funny to see his just like old timey portrait on IMDb there.
Well, and this is from screenwriter Richard Matheson, who wrote I Am Legend and has been involved in a lot of other famous uh writings like the he wrote well he was credited on the Omega Man because
Oh
that's
my
a
god, Jaws 3D, what a classic.
what a classic. Apparently Richard Matheson was born in New Jersey and raised in Brooklyn, New York. So there you go.
Hey.
But this film is starring Vincent Price as Roderick Usher, Myrna Fahey as Madeline Usher. You have Mark Damon
Not to be confused
who's
with
Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon. They're not actually related, are they?
No,
No,
I
that's
looked it
why I
up.
didn't think
And
so.
then Harry Ellerby, who plays Bristol, the butler guy of the house.
Great name for a
But
butler.
here we have upon entering his fiance's family mansion, a man discovers a savage family curse and fears that his future brother in law has entombed his bride to be prematurely. That jumps to like, that synopsis jumps well into the
I was gonna
movie.
say they kind of set it up. He is from Boston though.
Yes.
We established that he's from Boston because he doesn't stop saying it.
Yep. But Jess, what are your general thoughts on House of Usher?
Very dramatic. I feel like
Hmm.
there are a lot of jumps in logic here, a lot of steps to killing yourself and your family.
Well, I feel like
Spoilers for a
obviously,
hundred and
like
something year old story.
Roderick is completely convinced that his family is cursed and nothing will ever happen. besides him and his sister dying, so he's kind of dead set on that.
Yeah, like just
And
why you gotta drag it out? Come on,
and
bro.
he is when the time comes, he is so ready to die. He's just like
He doesn't even try to survive.
no, like there's a point like the climax of this movie sees his sister like completely cursed and going completely insane, trying to murder him, and he's just like, "Kill me, sis,
Yeah,
do it."
but like just do it. I don't know, whatever. Set the house on fire and just sit there then, bro.
Which that's the interesting thing about this is the literal house of Usher is falling apart around them,
Yes. Very
and
Freudian.
but like this has such a great setup in terms of the fog, the atmosphere. This mansion looks so creepy but elegant and rich. And it's decaying, obviously is metaphorical, very heavy-handed, but metaphorical.
It burns really fast for a stone structure.
It was
I'll
ready to
say.
die too, Jess.
I know, I'm like, wow, this stone is very flammable.
Were you perturbed by clean-shaven blonde Vincent Price? Because
Yeah, I was a little confused. Threw me a bit.
I'm like, who are you and why do you sound like Vincent Price?
It is Vincent Price. Yeah, why was he blonde? Was that relevant to the story or it was just a choice?
I don't know if that because like I don't remember if I read The Fall House of Usher, but like I don't recall if like Roderick is supposed to be a blonde, but that was certainly a choice. I think Roger Corman really understands this like level of camp horror from like the 50s and 60s
Mm.
that like obviously it's supposed to be it has dread, it has terror, but there's just something playful and dark about it. I feel like you certainly have some fun
Dark
with.
comedy.
But I guess, Jess, what are some of the things that really stood out to you about the film?
I like the set design.
Yep.
Very goth. We're cycling back to that a little bit, I think.
Hmm.
I enjoyed the set. Oh, this only came out 2 years after House on Haunted Hill, or
One
one
year
year
after.
after. That's right, because my mom was a little baby boy, girl.
Wow, Jess.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that. It's nice to see Vincent Price in his prime.
Hmm. I liked Harry Ellerby as Bristol. I thought he was an interesting
He was
addition to the
the
film.
butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was real dramatic too. Everybody in this is really dramatic. Like they would have loved some SSRIs.
But like I'm not particular like Mark Damon and Marina Faye aren't like
No,
biggest standout performances.
I don't
She
really
does
remember.
does go quite crazy towards the end with like and they have her all done makeup and stuff
Yeah,
like that. But generally like this is Vincent Price being a sad boy
yeah.
and just being depressed,
Pretty.
brooding and depressed.
Yeah, which like okay, but you still have a butler, man. I mean, some other people are worse off than you.
Well,
The
and
butler's really committed to it too, because it's like when the house falls, I fear I will go to. It's like, nah, man, this is a job. You could leave.
well, and like it has that like dark foreboding kind of cloud of doom and dread. Like nobody's acting particularly logical in this
No,
situation.
Edgar
That's not
Conto
what
probably
it's
would have loved
really
this.
not really what it's going for. But like they're obviously all very superstitious, and I potentially would be too if my house was like creepishly falling in around me in a murderous kind of way. But, I feel like this has plenty of atmosphere. It certainly drags at times, but it's only 79 minutes and, it sets the mood. It has that kind of eeriness for Halloween season. Vincent Price is always great. So I think it has some things going for it that makes it a fun and interesting watch.
I wanted to know what she was like when he first met her, because she seems very like sickly and stuff
Mhm.
throughout the whole movie. So I'm thinking, what did he see in her in Boston that he was like, wow, what a lively young woman I'd like to marry.
Hey, maybe when she finally got home, the house cursed her and then she became this way. And also like
Her
her
last name would change too. Oh, I like the paintings. I forgot about the paintings. Definitely not period accurate for whenever these relatives live, but I did like they're almost like caricatures. Like I said to Shane, whoever paid the portrait artists of these paid too much because they're not very flattering.
fair. Yes, the portraits are not
Like
particularly
if
good.
I mean, if somebody else paid of a portrait of them, I would get it as a parody, but they're very creepy on purpose, but like,
And like this is very well shot. There's just a crispness about it. Les Baxter, who's the composer, lays down some eerie music and everything, really setting the vibe. This movie is all vibes and Vincent Price. And I think that's enough for 79 minutes to
Yeah,
create some horror.
good old timey horror, sort of old timey, mid-century horror.
Well, because like Roger Corman wasn't necessarily somebody who was making a whole lot of films that were like prestige types of films. Like this is a B horror movie, and I think it nailed it. It nailed the tone, what it was going for, and the creepiness, and it tells this cautionary tale, and not particularly much else.
Yeah,
Do you have any other thoughts on House of Usher?
I'm just thinking about the portraits now, so no.
There you go. But that will be a wrap here on another episode of the Wasteland Retrospective. Jess, thank you so much for always coming on and talking movies with me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And next week, Mike will be joining me as we are going to be talking about Tron and Tron Legacy in honor of Tron Ares. That'll be coming out, and it made me upset that Tron Legacy is old enough for me to be covering this on this podcast
No,
because it has to at least be 10 years old,
no.
which that's like 15 years old at this point. And next month, Jess and I are going to do a double dose of dystopian New York. Basically, it's
Hooray!
The Warriors, an Escape from New York. So we're really getting those vibes together.
Yeah.
So, and thank you all for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite Vincent Price performance? Are you a fan of all those Roger Corman collaborations he did around this era? Well, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. So make sure to check it out. There's all different types of shows with all different types of interest for you, especially if you love movies. There's plenty of those. And if you want to join the crew as a guest on one of our shows or starting your own podcast, reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.